Today is proof day. Several videos back, I promised you that I was going to bring some information to the table that was going to show that atheists are just as subjective as anybody else under the sun when it comes to their reasoning capacities and whatnot. So anyway, today is that day. But I need to frame the backdrop of this for you. When you get into an argument with atheists, and I'm going to say most atheists because, maybe this doesn't apply to every single one, but when you get into an argument about whether God exists with most atheists, what they're going to do is they try to go to relying upon empiricism. They say, I'm a factual scientific thinker. Give me, math and logic and facts only. This is the only way that I'm going to deal with this. And then they paint the picture that religious people are actually the ones that are irrational and that they are believing in things without any sort of evidence whatsoever. They are the ones that are not coming to this argument in a level-headed fashion. So basically all Christians out there are making assessments by subjective experience. And atheists don't do this. Atheists are above this, and some of them really want to make the point that, look, we address this with logical fallacies. This shows the boundaries of where our thoughts are correct, etc. Wow. So, Christians, when they try to give evidence for the existence of God, atheists always go, well, that's not really evidence. And I've told you many times before that evidence is weighed subjectively, and so you don't have to actually accept evidence. And so the atheists that I present this to keep taking the evidence and throwing it over their shoulder and throwing it out the window. So I'm going to give not evidence about God, but evidence about the atheist. And so many times atheists tell me that I don't really know atheists. And actually I do. I talk to atheists and interact with atheists and understand their thinking pretty well. Not that I'm not always learning more and seeing more, but I kind of understand atheists. But let's say I don't know atheists as well as I do Christians. Well, I can assure you that I know Christians, and I know hundreds and thousands of Christians that I've interacted with, talked with. I know their likes and their dislikes. And here's the reason that is important, is because Christians could care less. Most Christians, like almost put a figure on, about 99% of Christians don't give a flip about apologetics or atheism. They really don't think much about it. Christians, they know internally, they are assured that God exists. And so anybody that thinks the otherwise is kind of imbecilic in their mind. And they're like, even the Bible addresses this. So most Christians don't even think about this. And very few Christians actually care about the arguments to even try to unwind an atheist mindset for them. And so the reason this is important is because I'm helping you to understand that if maybe I don't know atheists as well as I know Christians, I know that Christians, for the majority, do not watch atheist videos. So who is it that does watch atheist videos? And here's the reason this is important. For the last 30 to 50 videos that I have made, it has focused on atheism in particular. I put like pound atheism, pound agnostic. I put titles in there like, Matt Dillahunty, Alex O'Connor, etc. And so you need to understand that it is atheists that are watching these videos. And here's the reason that is important, is because my thumbnails are, I'm put them in the category of decent. And I've heard that there are some stellar knock them out of the park thumbnails out there. But like if you have crummy, crappy thumbnails, nobody's ever going to click on your videos. I don't really have a problem in my metrics of my video channel of anybody clicking on the thumbnails. They seem to be enticing enough to get your average atheist clicking. Click, click, click. And in fact, some of the metrics have shown that some of my videos, they launch through the roof and they're taking off. And then all of a sudden, YouTube's like, oh, you don't want to promote God stuff this fast, so let's wipe it out. And maybe that's not the reason. maybe the channel's too young and has too few videos, or I don't know. But the thumbnail clicking is not the issue. But here's what is the issue. Atheists have an immediate aesthetic response of some sort to clicking away from the video. And this is my proof, and I'm gonna get to the facts and the figures in just a moment. But why is this important? Well, atheists are always trying to explain to Christians, like, we're logical, we're mathematical, we're scientific, we believe in hardcore this and hardcore that, and now you're not any more of that than most people. And the reason this is important is to know, like, the thumbnails are professional enough to get people to click them, but as soon as they don't get the commercialized follow-through, the B-roll footage, maybe the intro music, maybe a branded face that they go, oh, I know that guy, I'll listen to that guy, or maybe he doesn't have the right voice or whatnot. But for whatever reason, there is an aesthetic bail that happens where the average atheist clicking on the videos immediately jumps ship and never even really considers the arguments. Let me get the figures for you. So on some of this, one of my recent Matt Dillahunty videos has a 5% click-through rate out of 1.6 thousand views, and the reason that we know it's atheists that are watching and responding are things like the likes are at 6.5% total. That means, what, 93.5% don't like it? Thumbs down. And the length of the video is about 10 minutes and 41 seconds, and the average viewer watched it 1.50 minutes. Now, so Christians, there are some Christians that would struggle all the way through it. If my content is that terrible, they would just watch all the way through it. And I know there are some atheists that do watch it all the way through. But it's got 6% total viewership. And if it is a small group, and I've already told you that Christians really don't care about this, they're in the minority. And we know from the vast amount of negative comments and negative likes that atheists are heavily involved in watching these videos. The Professor Plink video had a 5.6% click-through rate, and it did a little better with 16% likes, but it was a 26-minute video, and the average viewer watched it 3 minutes. What about one of the Alex O'Connor videos? It was 12 minutes long. The average viewer watched it 2.12 seconds. The G. Moore video had an average watch time of 1.31 seconds. And I could go on and on with this. Let me show you this. I think you could see this right here. See that curve? See that right there? This is how many people check in. Bam! And then they jump out, like jump ship, and not even making it to, the average viewership is like 2 minutes or so right down here. And this doesn't hurt my feelings in any stretch. What it is, it just shows how subjective and inductive that atheists are in making their assessments. They're not clearly super logical all the time and evaluating everything. They have likes and dislikes. They're very human like everybody else. And so I want you to consider that you're not just a hyper logical data machine. You don't just walk around treating all of life as if it's facts and figures. You actually decide a whole lot of what you decide based off of subjective experience. And when it comes to evaluating God, there is a selective application of your deductive powers. And furthermore, who then are you choosing to side with, considering that atheism is a smaller portion of society than those that claim to know there is a God or those that claim to be religious, etc. And if you were looking at those metrics and kind of getting some feedback like, well, wow, a large percentage of these atheists would be subjective as well. They're very subjective. And so that gets me to wondering, have the things that they have told me and shared with me, are they being subjectively and selectively biased in those areas? Are they sometimes sharing things with me that they know better, but it sounds like a good argument, and so they kind of lead me astray? And so if you're an atheist, you're choosing to stand with those that really don't have morals to tell you the truth or not about what they actually believe. And they are subjectively selective on when they choose to believe what they choose to believe. And then also some of the premier atheists out there think it's okay to lie, and have said so and done as much, to make their points about atheism to keep people away. Richard Dawkins and Sam Harris, if you're wondering. And maybe I need to go ahead and look into who else has done that on purpose. But you might just want to reconsider your framework. If you think that you're just a brainiac, that you're just logical on all fronts, you need to reconsider that you are actually very human, and you're making some very human assessments. And you might want to just kind of look back through all of your supposed logic and find the points where you have started with some subjective foundations, and see if they really stand the test of true logical inspection. Or did you start off with faith, much like those who believe in God?